Right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Welln'ish. Our guest today is my favorite photographer, Sophy Hurtubise. On top of being a photographer, she is also an entrepreneur, a supermom to 2 boys, and a teacher. She is always 2 steps ahead and staying on top of the photography game. She is someone who always seems to be working. One of her most recent endeavors is starting Boudoir Photography. And I'm so excited to have Sophy here today to demystify boudoir and hear what pushed her to get involved with this form of female empowerment. So welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me, Riley.
Did I get everything in there? Because you seem like you always have so many side hustles going on, so I want to do it justice.
You are right. Yeah, you did it justice. I am launching a photography education course tomorrow, so that's the latest.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you. The rest you got.
Okay, perfect. So I'm so fascinated by creatives, mostly because I don't have a creative bone in my body. So I'm curious why photography and what kind of brought you or felt like this medium spoke to you.
Yeah, I think I actually kind of just fell into photography. It's not like I was in high school and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a photographer or anything like that. I got my first camera from an ex-boyfriend. Nice camera to take pictures. And it kind of just started like that. I was like, okay, take pictures here and there, but it was like landscape and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess partly through my teaching career, I was like, I don't really want to be teaching anymore, and I'd like to try something different. And I went to I did photoshopping classes at night for fun. This job posting came along for a photo retoucher, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I totally want to apply to this because this is what I like doing. Got the interview, went to the interview, and I left being hired as a photographer, which was very to me. I hadn't really done any photography classes or anything, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And this photographer, she's a photographer in Montreal. She did a lot of weddings. Was basically the one that kind of got me into photography, gave me my my chance to do a bunch of different mediums in photography, and it kind of just went from there, and it just slowly grew. It was about doing events and weddings for a good 9 years of my career until COVID hit, and I was like, we're going to
transition.
Newborn, and let's open Boudoir while we're at it.
When life gives you lemons.
There you go. So that's where it came from. And
okay, that's pretty cool. Is anyone else in your family creative, or are you the...
I'd say my middle sister is creative, not in pictures, but she has like a really good design eye. Like, she has the creative in terms of like interior decorating and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So there's definitely like creative there. My mom's good too, actually.
Yeah.
So my dad actually liked taking a lot of pictures when he was younger too.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
that's
maybe
special.
it's kind of runs in the family, I guess.
Yeah. So how long have you been a photographer for?
So now we're going on 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
Job started in 2010, so it's been about 12 years. But I'd say end of 2019, 2020 is when I really started running my business like a business, not just like side hustle photography. Like, there's so much that goes into to running a business and in terms of photography than just taking good pictures. Like, there's a whole business side to it, right? And
absolutely,
I realized that was either going to make or break my business. I started taking care of that side as well, and so now it's been up and running very well for a good 2 years.
Yeah. You definitely, I mean, I've used your services so many times. And so if anybody likes my photos, Sophy took all of them.
Thank you.
But I always tell everyone, I'm like, I'm such an awkward person taking photos, and so many people can relate to that. And I guess this is one of those things where it's not just about the photo, it's like, how comfortable can you make the people around you? And And even for our shoot that I did with Ryan, like he was like not wanting to be there, and these photos turned out amazing. So you definitely have the interpersonal aspect down pat, and I think that's definitely something that's overlooked with photography.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're going to be awkward as a photographer, then the people are going to feel awkward, right? Like in any situation, if you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this person, then your demeanor is going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. So you got to make it fun and you need to make them want to feel there in any aspect.
So, I mean, that's kind of a good transition point to start talking about essentially how your business evolved. So you mentioned you started with events and then COVID hit and then you transitioned and eventually that led you to Boudoir. And yeah, just wondering if you could talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, so that really started, that was in 2020, October 2020. So that was our first year of COVID. It originally started, I had a good friend ask if I would do a couples boudoir shoot because she wanted to capture the intimacy between her and her boyfriend. And she's like, would you want to do that? I was like, okay, sure. Like, I'll definitely try it, but like, I need to educate myself on how to do this because boudoir is it's a specialty niche. Like it's not comparable to doing family photography or anything of the sort. Right. So I did like a lot of education so I would know what I was doing. But thankfully I did that because I mean, the session itself went great, but we had a good conversation after that being like, how did you feel doing boudoir, right? Like, because you can sense when you're photographing someone, how they're feeling and stuff, so it was an important question to me. I was like, well, how did you feel, and she's like, thank God it was you, because she's like, I was really shy and nervous, she's like, as it went on, like I got much, I felt super comfortable, but that was a big part of it. She goes, I don't think I would be like that with anyone else. So I started to think about it like, okay, yeah, like it is a little awkward, not awkward, but you are like half naked in front of somebody else and you may not know them. And it gave me thinking, I was like, okay, I think this is something that people would want, women want. But going a little bit further to that is like, what did we lose in COVID? Especially women. What did we lose? We lost ourselves. We lost a sense of who we were as a woman, not as a parent, because let's face it, parenting took over. Right? We lost a sense of self as being a woman, feeling sexy. For the most part, we were in sweatpants and.
Well, to this day, I'm shocked. I went to Holt Renfrew the other day, and still now, like haute couture is like loungewear. And I'm sure it came from the pandemic because everybody was at home and like the Balenciaga models, it was just like all sweatsuits. And I'm like, this is a real thing from a pandemic.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it's probably, that's a really good observation. But I mean, like we're still in that, right? Getting dressed up is like a treat now. Whereas I don't know about you, but I was always like, not in suits and pants, but I would always wear jeans and a nice shirt. I was always somewhat dressed. Now I'm like, jeans. So, that those little things like the attention, the feeling sexy, it left us. And I was like, you know what? Boudoir is the way to be able to allow a woman to feel that way again. I was like, you know what? So it was 2 weeks after that shoot, got everything up and running and was like, okay, yes, we're going to do this. And sure enough, there is a need and a want from women.
Absolutely.
And that's where it began.
And I'm so happy that, I mean, I think she was one of your best friends, was able to say like she felt comfortable, but I don't think it's just because it's your friend. Sometimes it might even be worse when it's somebody that you know really well, but I think it speaks to your ability to really like connect to the person and like be grounded and present and make them feel safe. So I don't think anybody could do boudoir. Like, I think...
No. I mean, the technicalities of it, like if you learn how to do your posing and all that stuff, yeah, you could do it. But there is a personality part of it that is important. But I think the personality part is important in the type of boudoir that you're doing too, right? There's niches of boudoir themselves, right?
And so what's your niche?
I'd say, I'll tell you what I'm not. Like, I don't do erotica or BDSM and all that stuff. I'd say I'm in not that, but I'm not a beauty portrait session either, right? So there's a certain sexy element to it, but still remaining classy and tasteful. So I guess I'm kind of like in the middle, not sexy, but not the the extreme. I'm not sure if there's a word for it. I don't know. The Sophy Boudoir.
Check out her photos and you'll get an idea. I guess I should have led with this, but can you explain to people who have no clue what boudoir is? Because like you just said, like there's so many niches and a lot of people's minds will probably go straight to erotica, naked photos, and what is boudoir?
I think it's a complex question to answer because I think boudoir can be many things for different people and different photographers, right? So for example, for me, it's more about a feeling, right? Okay. How are you going to feel after you've taken pictures? Not even just after taking pictures. How are you going to feel after the experience with me or embody boudoir? So I want you to feel empowered. I want you to have a sense of control. I want you to feel sexy. I want you to love yourself. I want you to walk out of, after the studio and even after you see your pictures, like sitting on a pedestal, feeling like you are a queen. So for me, it's really all about the woman and the woman doing something for themselves. I'm not about somebody coming to me for boudoir to do it for their partner, their husband, their fiance, their boyfriend.
Okay.
I don't do that. That's not what I'm about.
Okay. Okay, that's so interesting. So who would you say are your main clientele that you're trying to attract then? Like what's your, I guess within boudoir, what's kind of your bread and butter? What do you do most?
For sure. I'd say on average, it's about, in the 30s, 40s. They are career women. They most likely have children or have a child. And they're at that point where, I've had my kids, and after, you have your kids, it's all about kids. I'm ready to do something for myself, and I'm ready to feel sexy again, even after, everything that my body has been through, carrying children, delivering children, maybe breastfeeding, whatever it is, going through those changes. And they want to be able to appreciate themselves at that point after that.
I love that. Like, I'm so fascinated by Rihanna right now, too. I know a little bit of a different direction, but the maternity boudoir I find, like, so amazing. And I love how she's just trying to change the dialogue around pregnancy, It's like, you don't stop being sexy, you don't stop being yourself. Like, you're literally creating, and that should be, like, celebrated in a completely different way.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, she's a hottie.
I know.
Woo!
I know, but I wish we had more of that. Like so much maternity clothing is just like cover up, make sure you don't look like you're pregnant.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask some more specific questions. So what does a boudoir session look like? Because I remember I'm good friends with Sophie's sister, Tanya. She did a session and she was sore the next day. And I remember she was like, Sophie warned me like that I would be sore for my wedding. She's like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So what does a boudoir session entail and why are people sore after?
Disclaimer. Yeah, no one believes me. And it's even the most fittest of people will be sore. It's okay. So the session itself, it's about like a 3-hour session, but not 3 hours of posing. You come in, your hair and makeup is done for like the first hour by a professional, not me, can't do that. But your hair and makeup is done. We're playing music. In the meantime, I'm setting up your client closet, which means they can go and choose whatever outfits they want to wear if they want to.
So you provide the wardrobe for the session.
Exactly.
Oh,
but it's not mandatory, right? Because I do have clients coming like, I just got this amazing bodysuit. I want to wear it. Perfect. But I do have like different pieces, and I'd say like 95% of people end up I don't think anyone's not wearing actually. So I'd say 100% of people usually end up wearing at least one outfit from the closet. So we go through that.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. So the session, I always start off actually with portrait shots in regular clothes. So if you are wearing your sweatpants or your t-shirt, whatever you want, you just wear it. And we do that because I want people to warm up and get comfortable in front of the camera rather than going right to the bra and thong and let's get right to it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm aware of how people feel, you know? So we start off with those portraits first, but it only takes about 15 minutes for people to get warmed up. It doesn't take long, and no one believes me. I wish I had a camera to videotape people because everyone's like, all right, we're good to go. And then we start our session. So the actual photo shoot session, I say, is no more than an hour and a half. Okay. And we do a bunch of different poses, right? So a big concern is like, I don't know how to pose, and you don't need to. I tell you how to pose. So it is a very highly posed session, literally from head to toe. Like, okay, how are you going to put your chin? How are you going to put your neck? How are your shoulders going to go? Where are your hands going to go? Where do your hips go? Where does your butt go? Like everything is but like based on somebody's body type, right? Like we're always trying to get different shapes of the body, like an S shape, so we can show those beautiful curves and stuff. Now, why does your body hurt is because you're arching your back a lot because we want to show that beautiful booty. And you're popping your hips out like left and right and left and right and left and right, you know? So it's something that you're not typically used to doing because, well, we don't stand like that on a daily basis or, you know, like that for people. So you are sore. It's just the different muscles that you're using that you probably could.
So from an osteopathic perspective, these are your deep stabilizing muscles that you never use. So when you go to the gym, you're using your big, sexy muscles, but those little small ones, they're important to use also.
I should include an osteo session. Boudoir. You're going to need this. So, hence why people are sore after, you know, like if you do some yoga, have a glass of wine and some Advil, fine in 2 days, but you are sore. You are sore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So before you were saying that for boudoir for you, it's capturing a feeling. And so I'm guessing that, you know, different things inspire different women to feel empowered. You know, does one session kind of look the same for everyone, or how does that differ?
I think in terms of how they leave feeling, that is the same. And I know that feeling is going to be there. But like I meet with all the women prior to the session. We always do a Zoom date. And I do that because I want to get to know them, but I want to get to know why they're doing a session. Like, what do you want out of this? And how do you envision your session? Right. I'd say like the only thing that maybe differs is some people are like, oh, well, I don't want it to be like too sexy as in like, you know, erotica, but I don't do that. So it's never an issue, but like, it's also a comfort level of the person. But I always tell them like, once you get into the session, your shyness and that quote unquote comfort level is it's going to go away. You're going to be fine. You're not going to be shy and you're going to totally feel comfortable. Also, like, you know, posing in awkward poses is not sexy. It doesn't feel sexy. You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? You know, and then you look in the camera, you're like, wow, that's me. So it's kind of like, you know, we see these models, you know, in a regular photo shoot and you're like, wow, you must feel so beautiful. But they're also standing there doing things for a very long time that is not necessarily feeling like glamorous, you know?
Makes sense. And so what do you think holds most women back from doing boudoir, and what kind of beliefs or belief systems do you wish that we could erase from women's minds?
There are a lot. I'm going to say a big one is weight. When I lose 5 pounds, when I lose 10 pounds, when I get more this, when I get more that, like that's
diet culture.
Very big one. And that it's very hard to tell somebody, but like, you know, I get you want to feel good in your body. Believe me. I think all women we get that. Right. But you know, the whole, idea around body image too, is that like, are you actually going to feel happier and feel better when you lose that weight? We don't know. Right. Like, So
most of the time the answer is no.
Exactly. So having that, and I call them excuses, I'm not to invalidate them, but that's what we hear a lot. And when that time is ready, might be in 10 years from now, but you don't know what's going to happen in 10 years from now. We don't know. Right. So if you want that feeling now, then take it, do it, and that's something that's probably going to carry you on a lot further than losing that 5 pounds or that 10 pounds or whatever it is, I get a lot of, I'm shy. That's like the easiest one, I think. People are like, shy. I'm like, yeah, but you won't be shy in 15 minutes. I promise. But that's also why I meet the woman before, because it's important to know who's taking your pictures, in like in these sexy outfits, right? And I think a lot of the shyness goes after you've kind of made that connection and that relationship with your photographer. So the shyness, I get it, but it's not really a factor. It's never really an issue. Money in terms of women have a very hard time spending money on themselves. It's tagged along with a lot of guilt. Like, well, why would I spend money on myself when I could be spending it on my kids or my husband or just something else, right? Like there's a lot of money guilt that comes along with spending money. So that's a big one as well. But, that plays into the role of the woman, the mother, the caretaker, the housekeeper, the chef, it just goes on. And then self-care is always at the back end of that. So it's something that needs to be reiterated all the time, that no, that should be a priority rather than everything else, because when you make yourself a priority, everything else is easier and better. But
I love that.
Those are the top ones that I get.
And I think like we've had this discussion before in terms of cost as well, is people don't realize how much, it's not just coming in, taking a few photos and leaving. Like you were just saying, it's a 3-hour session. You're renting a studio space, like all of your equipment, the time you spent editing, the makeup artist, all of these go into that cost as well.
Yeah, that, and also it's time, right? Like I let people know too, I'm like, yeah, you're investing in yourself, but I'm also investing in you. Like people don't book a session now and do it next week. It's not that. It's a 3 to 4 month process when people, we are meeting. I get messages all the time. I didn't work out this week. Am I going to be okay for my session? Yes. Be okay. I ended up being the cheerleader for the time frame. You know what I mean? And that's fine. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. But there's a lot of encouragement. There's a lot of mindset preparation that goes into it on top of just the session. But then even after the session, like there's very few women that I do not speak to after the session. Like still build that relationship and keep in touch and stuff. It's like when I tell them it's not just a session. It goes beyond beautiful pictures. We're talking about the experience here. And that's
yeah, no, absolutely. Do you is there anything that surprises you during the session? Like something that you're like a moment or
not necessarily surprised, but I love the moment when they go from being shy to not shy. I'm like, it happened. Okay, we're there now.
15 minutes in.
That, and I also love the when the session is over, the reaction that women have, like, oh my God, I feel so amazing right now. Like, I want to go on a date. I want to go out. I want to, like, they just feel so good. Like that confidence has been completely boosted. They feel exactly what it is, sex,
what you
empowered,
want.
amazing, and I love seeing that. I also love when I show them a picture of themselves, like I'll show them pictures throughout the session. We're kind of all curious, like, you're making me hurt my hips right now. What do I, and they see the picture and they're like, I can't believe that's me. I love that reaction. I love that.
Yeah. So satisfying.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Oh, I love this. Okay. What are some ideas or milestones or times, or like, how would you not recommend, but women might be thinking about doing boudoir, but don't know where to start, or how often do you see people, or what are the times where people are kind of coming to see you, and do you have any?
I'm not sure if there's like a huge, I'd say like around the 40th birthday is
okay. That's fun.
not the main one, but like, like a milestone birthday is something that the women seem to be doing for themselves and liking and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's like necessarily a milestone, but it's like after that period, like I'm done having kids. There's like, I don't know what to call it. Maybe like the mama milestone. Like I'm done and I'm ready to focus on me. I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with a word for it, but like it's the, I'm ready to do something for myself milestone, but like, I don't have people coming specifically for like, just, it's only my 40th or something. I'd say those are like the two, like maybe a birthday and the, I'm ready to do something for myself.
Okay. Love that. And what kind of format do most women take? Like, are they printing their photos after and keeping them for themselves, or do you
Well, okay, so I've changed I call them collections. So I've kind of solved both problems in all collections. They get digitals and albums. So they're getting both because I know not women. Well, yeah, because this women mostly take care of the photo sessions, but we typically just keep our pictures in digital and they sit on our computer, right, or phone or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But now it's not an option. They're getting an album.
Good.
And
I love that.
Like a lot of them are like, oh, I could definitely just put this out because they're not raunchy or inappropriate pictures, right? Like they're beautiful pictures. They are art. So it's something that you can show and display. So it's nice.
I love that you do that because it's so true. It would just stay on a digital file. And now women have the opportunity, if they're starting to feel overwhelmed, that feeling, like you were saying, the sense of losing themselves. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go grab my album, flip through. And it just, photographs have such a way of bringing you back and holding you to that feeling.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I have another question. So as a woman raising two boys and somebody who's very like an advocate for female empowerment, do you have any ways or any plans for ways to get them to be men who want to empower women? Is that something that you ever think about? Or
I think I probably maybe subconsciously do it,
well, you're leading by example.
Yeah, leading by example. But I think a lot of people feel like boudoir is taboo and like we don't talk about that. And anything to do with the women's body, in this day and age, it's sexualized and everything's sexualized,
Yeah.
But
what's so wrong with sexuality?
Exactly. Right. But it's the way things are portrayed and done, So I'm looking in my office right now and my kids come in my office when I give them permission to, because I have my boudoir pictures right in front of me here. I have the magazine publications that boudoir has been published in, and they're freely there. Right. So my boys see that, but they don't see it as ew,
taboo.
They don't see it. It's just like normal. It's like, okay, well, mommy was taking pictures. It's mommy's job. That's just what it is. So they're not really
you're not sitting them down and having conversations about it, but you're normalizing female empowerment through sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. And they're obviously not disrespectful in any way. Like it doesn't go either way, but little things, like they help me do little chores. They have little things to do. Like it's not only mommy that needs to do things. It's us, you as well. And you also have roles. I also have a husband who is very active, hands-on and does things a lot. So it's not like they're only seeing mommy always do things as well. I think all of that plays a role in everything,
absolutely,
empowerment and all that.
Okay. I love that. So is there anything on boudoir that I haven't touched on that you want to make sure you get on record?
I don't think so. You had some great questions. I encourage all women to do boudoir, and if it's, I kind of relate it to dating. If it's when you first start dating someone, you're always thinking about them and you're thinking about them and you're thinking about them. You're like, okay, let's just go on a date. It's the same thing with boudoir. Yeah. If you keep thinking about boudoir and it's in the back of your head, it's probably because you want to do it. And you might just need that Zoom date or that meeting with me to talk it over, ask your questions, get it answered to make you feel comfortable and take that leap to do it.
So before booking a session, can they get a consultation with you before?
You have to.
Okay, but I mean, do they have to be committed before they get a consult?
No. I do that. They're complimentary, and I do them to answer questions. Because I mean, going back and forth with questions about boudoir is, we would be going over dozens and dozens of emails. It's so much easier just to take a 20, 30-minute, chat and let's see what you want to ask. What are you envisioning? How do you feel? And then you decide after that. There's you decide after that. It's usually the decision is made, but there's no pressure. There's no obligation. I mean, people know where to find me.
Okay. And how can people reach you if they want to book a session?
I mean, I have my website, but I am very present on social media, especially Instagram. So Embody Boudoir by Sophy C. Same thing on Facebook. And that is also my website, is embodyboudoir.com. But you can find all the information everywhere. I'm transparent about everything. So interested about the pictures, session, experience, pricing, all that. It's there. It's not hidden, but reach out. I'm always ready for a chat conversation.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. That was wonderful.
I'm happy that I got to learn more about boudoir also, because I felt like I knew something about it because I know you, but
hey,
thank you for sharing.
Now.
Oh no, I've told you we're doing one. I've always told you this, but I want to do a session with friends one day. I think it would be so fun with mimosas and just laugh and encourage each other. I'm so excited.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, and have a great rest of your day.
Wonderful. You too.
Okay. Bye. Sophie?